I still have trouble with understanding a lot of it. Yes, ma'am.
Does this time frequency that you speak of for the 2013, does that have anything to do with what some people are talking about, some of the astrologers and others, about the entryway and the photon band or photon belt?
The question was, does the time of 2013 have anything to do with what astrologers or astronomers are saying about the photon belt? Ma'am, they have never mentioned anything about the photon belt. In fact, the Andromedans have absolutely no belief system whatsoever in astrology. And I don't mean to offend anybody, this is their perspective. They say it's all a belief system.
How does it all agree with King James Version?
I don't know. I don't know. I'll tell you. The gentleman said, why does this all agree? He said, why does this all agree with the King James Version? How does this all agree with the King James Version? Well, I will just tell you, this is a very touchy subject. I will just tell you this, that Mornay has told me that it is more important to know why you believe something than the fact that you believe it. And in their opinion, the fact that we all believe, or a majority of the people believe in the book of Revelations, that we are literally going to self-fulfill it.
What we think we create.
Let's see, who else? I see somebody pointing to somebody else who doesn't want to raise his hand, probably. Yes, ma'am, in the back.
Richard Hoagland talks about...
Could you stand up? I can't hear you.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Richard Hoagland talks about hyperdimensional physics, and through that we can change our reality. And so this is really what you're saying, is that if we believe in the book of Revelation, we'll create it. So wouldn't it be an idea that if we change our thought about the year 2013 as something other than a outlined there, and that's sort of what he is saying, is hyperdimensional physics can allow that person to change their reality through their thoughts, and it's basic metaphysics. And that would be eliminating fear, because if we go into anything with fear, we cannot change our thoughts. I don't know, when you said you were afraid, it made me concerned about your information, although I really think your information sounds to me very valid. But when fear can change that reality, does that make any sense?
Yes, it does. The fears that I have are my own. How do I put this? I have a lot of years invested as a child and as a young adult in Christianity. I have been made aware of the fact that there's no net underneath me. No net at all. And the fear that I have is my own belief in myself to be totally self-responsible. I can admit that. So that's the fear. Because if there's no net underneath me, it lies squarely on my shoulders to figure out my reality. And when I see all this stuff going on, what is it that I want to create? What do I want to create? My wife and I want to have a baby. I'm 39 years old. I've been in many other relationships, and I've raised other children that weren't my own. Now I want to raise my own. And, there's a lot of things going on that influence that decision. So, I share the information, but I'm also sharing myself. So, you have to take that whatever way you want. Yes, ma'am.
Question about reincarnation. If, say, the Earth is destroyed in the future,
Where are the souls going to reincarnate? Are we going to other planets where they have similar life forms? Or you're supposed to go into, or what? What's the theory on that?
Okay. The question was about reincarnation. If the Earth is destroyed in the future, where will all these souls go to continue to reincarnate? That's a great question. I will share with you a couple things about that. Their theory, the Andromedan theory on that is this. They say that all physical matter that is in this 21 trillion year old holograph came out of what we know as black holes. So the Big Bang theory is correct in its simplicity. But apparently what happened was some other universes somewhere also went through the process of evolving, and those things that chose not to evolve, to raise their frequency for whatever reason, were taken into black holes, and because spirit cannot be destroyed, it has to create another space to continue to evolve. Now the Andromedans call that space consciousness. They call our universe consciousness, because that's what created it. They say this is happening all over again. And the London Sunday Times this past Sunday, for those of you on January 1st, the London Sunday Times on the back, apparently the Hubble telescope has found a floating black hole that is moving through, it's right now in Virgo, it is floating and it is pulling some suns, some stars into it, but not others. And they're gone. And they're actually watching this thing now. And that's the London Sunday Times, January 1st. For those of you who want to go to your newsstands and try to get it. It's on the back page of the front section. Big article. Okay, so, there's a God. And whatever she has decided to do is going to happen. Actually, I asked about that, and they said that, that they call it the isness. They themselves don't know exactly what it is, but just that it holds everything together. But that if they had to give it a gender, it would be female.
Thank you.
Because it creates life. Yes, ma'am.
One of the crop circles, or a couple of them actually, this last summer, showed the planets around the sun, almost like your one picture was there with the asteroid belt. But it was interesting that where the Earth is supposed to be, there was no planet. There was the ring there that showed the orbit, but there's no planet. Did you see that in crop circles?
I did not, but somebody told me about it in Dallas.
Yeah.
I don't know. I've not had an opportunity to ask about that. But
ask it, would you? I'd like to know the answer.
I promise. Believe me, I have a list of questions. I'll get to you in 1 second. They say that the crop circles are fifth-dimensional geometry. That's what it is. And in case you don't know that, crop circles have been showing up in the United States, but it's being suppressed. And they're primarily showing up along fault lines on the West Coast. So stay tuned for that. They're actually happening, but the feds are doing an excellent job because of the satellites, making sure that the minute they're created, that they're out there as soon as possible to make sure it's bulldozed, plowed over, etc. Yes, sir, in the back.
Yeah, I was just curious how your communication process with the Andromedans, and is it at your request or their request, and how often does it occur, and all that kind of stuff?
Well, there's absolutely no pattern to it. And, question here. Okay, he wanted to know how the communication with the Andromedans goes. Is it at my request or their request? Sir, there is no pattern to it. They let me know. I will go outside at night, which I do every night, and I will look up at the sky and I will project a symbol, which is a communication that I have with them. And I don't always get a response. Sometimes I have to wait months to get a response. But they're almost always at night. They're both telepathic as well as verbal. Now, Mornay is the only one that has actually gone to the effort to learn to speak. Visayas doesn't. It's all telepathic, and they talk in symbols. Now, when you start, for those of you who channel, you may already be aware of this, or mediums. I don't really like the word channel. You get impressions. Telepathy is speaking in holographs.